Modern life has been engineered for convenience. Convenient food, convenient medicine, convenient entertainment, convenient fixes for everything. And yet, women are more exhausted, more inflamed, more anxious, more overweight, and just completely disconnected from their bodies than ever before. That should make us stop and ask some questions. So, come with me today as we think about that and we make sure that we aren't falling victim to convenience culture and the traps that it sets. Let's go. I want to start this episode by saying that I do not think that most women are lazy. I think women are exhausted, they're overstimulated, they're disconnected from their bodies, and they're living in a culture that has trained most of us to choose convenience at almost every turn. And I think that that culture is making us sick. So today, I want to talk about the hidden cost of convenience, why quick fix culture usually keeps women stuck, and why true healing usually requires a completely different mindset than the world teaches us today. We're going to talk through some facts about how our world has changed, but then we're going to look at some principles that you can apply to your life to make sure that you are not a victim of convenience. Convenience has solved many problems for the modern woman, or at least that's how it seems on the surface. But what have those conveniences cost us? I think it's quietly created entirely new problems, and maybe our old problems weren't really problems at all. Think about things like bread. We use the phrase, it's the best thing since sliced bread, as if store bought sliced bread meant we had arrived. And yet the bread, that bread and other products made from processed flour are at the root of so many health problems that essentially did not even exist before that supposed landmark invention. Yes, it saved moms time, but it also cost them and their families their health. And think about this, that time that was saved opened up the door to cram in more stuff to make our days busier in other ways. So I ask you this, was it really a win? The body was designed to thrive through rhythm, movement, nourishment, sunlight, effort, rest, and connection, both inside of our families and with others. Modern convenience often removes every single one of those things I just listed. Modern life now removes almost every healthy friction point. And I know when you hear the term friction point, you're thinking, yeah, I want friction gone. But sometimes friction points are for a purpose and they serve a need. Let's think about our food. You come get off maybe at the end of your work day, or maybe you've worked all day at home and you've got 1,000 things that you feel like you need to do and you don't have time to cook. Well, there's drive-throughs on every corner. There's packaged snacks, packaged meals. And then there's also the element of us eating disconnected from our hunger, meaning we eat because what the clock says, not because what we actually need. Before the modern time, these things did not exist. Before the modern time, it wasn't so easy to just grab a meal or to just grab snacks. It required planning and it required preparation. And so that friction point that kept us healthier because it helped control our eating is now gone. Think about movement. Our previous generations' lifestyles involved constant movement. They were rarely sitting down, but now today we're sitting constantly. We avoid physical effort whenever we can, and convenience has replaced natural movement in our day-to-day work. Our parenting and our family rhythms have changed. Screens have replaced presence. We can just hand our kids an iPad or a phone to watch a video and we don't have to deal with it. It's easy, it's convenient, but what does it cost us? We're constantly overstimulated. We're rushing here to there constantly. always running to the next thing, never slowing down to enjoy the present. Our medicine seems like it's a great thing, right? We've been told modern medicine is so great, but we suppress symptoms quickly now. We want immediate relief, and we don't want to ask why we were uncomfortable to start with. We never allow our body to heal and to do what God designed it to do for us. We immediately outsource it all to a medical establishment that is far richer than we are, and that is no coincidence. We have constant entertainment that constantly stimulates dopamine, that constantly keeps us going back to it, endless scrolling, inability to tolerate boredom or silence, constant stimulation that we feel like we need. We have more convenience than any generation in history, and yet women's bodies are struggling more than ever. The modern woman is constantly rushing, she's multitasking, she's overstimulated, she's exhausted, yet she's unable to rest. She's consuming endless information, but she's disconnected from her physical reality. Most women are spending more time looking at screens than looking at the sky or nature. Most women, maybe all women. Previous generations moved more naturally. It was part of their everyday life. They spent more time outdoors. They cooked more food at home because there really wasn't any other option. They had less artificial stimulation. In fact, really, they had very little, if any, because there was none. And they were certainly less chemically overloaded. But our modern reality has us under artificial lights. As I'm recording this, I've got two in my face. It's everywhere. We're living indoors constantly. We eat convenience foods that are depleted of nutrition. We have less movement, more stress, and more inflammatory inputs. The truth is, healing usually requires doing the less convenient thing. Things like cooking instead of just grabbing food, walking instead of scrolling, sleeping instead of pushing harder or pushing through things that don't need to be pushed through, learning and internalizing instead of outsourcing everything. I want to go through some different things to keep in mind, some different principles to think about to help you make sure you are not a victim of the traps that convenience sets for you. The body was designed for inputs that the modern life removes. We were supposed to be getting things that we aren't getting anymore in much greater amounts. Things that like natural light and circadian rhythms. The sunlight used to be, and God designed it to be, what dictates our days and our nights, our wake and our sleep cycles. Used to, we would wake up as the sun was coming up because that was what was natural. There was no artificial light to keep us up till late hours of the night. So our bodies would naturally get sleepy, and then you would lay down for the night. It was expensive to have lighting. So people went to bed and they got sleep. And then when the sun came up, they woke up and their bodies were regulated by this natural circadian rhythm. Today, fluorescent lighting can keep us up as long as we want to be up. We can have our screens to entertain us late into the night. When previously there was nothing to do at night, now we've got plenty to do at night, and so our sleep is all messed up. Indoor lifestyles contribute to this even more. And while all these things may seem like maybe I'm just being a stick in the mud, I want you to think about how God designed us, where He designed us, what He designed our bodies to be doing, and then think, are these things in line with that? Or are they blocking what He designed to work naturally? The body cannot thrive while being completely disconnected from the environment that it was designed for. God designed people in a garden. There was no housing, there was no electricity, there were no any of these things. And while shelter is great and lights are beneficial or helpful in some ways, I just want you to think about what we are missing that they had naturally in that time and how their bodies were regulated, how their lives were regulated. The more you can get your body back to the situation that they had then, the more healthy you're going to be, because that's where God designed humans to be. And I'm not saying we should all live outside. I'm not saying that. Shelter is nice. It's nice to sleep inside, away from pests and away from animals and all these kind of things at night, and air conditioner is lovely and all these things. I get that. But let's just remember what we're giving up when we spend too much time in those artificial environments. Physical movement is another thing that is totally different than how it used to be or how God designed it to be. I'm not talking about these punishment workouts that a lot of people get. That's not what I'm talking about. But what I am talking about is in our lives, we need to have more consistent movement. Things like walking, lifting, not necessarily big, crazy heavy weights for women. That's not how God designed our bodies to work. But just lifting and moving things from place to place, day to day, as we're picking up kids, walking around, doing the different things that we need to do, lifting groceries, lifting food, all these kind of things of the constant movement that comes with life when all of the convenience has not removed those things. Things like being mobile throughout the day, maybe even dancing a little and having some fun with your kids. The constant movement throughout the day is what keeps your blood flowing and keeps you healthy. Movement woven into your everyday life. The body was designed to move regularly, not occasionally. If you're just doing one workout a day, but you're sitting in an office the rest of the day, you're really not benefiting much. You're almost wasting your time. Your movement needs to be spread throughout your day. Studies show that 10 squats per hour actually has a bigger impact on blood sugar than one 30-minute walk per day. So find ways to get squats throughout your day. Find ways to maybe get up and move, even if you're having to work indoors. Maybe walk a lap or two around your building each hour. Things like that. Think of ways, be creative, and think of ways that you can work movement into your regular everyday life. The goal is to make your life as much in line with how God designed it to work and how God designed it to live as possible. I remind you, there were no office buildings in the Garden of Eden. And I know that some of you will think that's really old school for me to say, and that's fine. If that's what you think, you're very likely in a trap of modern conveniences, because if you will start to take a step back and think through the reality of how God made us, you will understand what I mean by that statement. So we've got several things to overcome with food. In our convenience foods, are hyper palatable because there's things like high fructose corn syrup, and there's quote science behind it where they've actually spent billions of dollars studying what will make you want more food and it will make you crave what they make. And then they profit from your sickness and from the food you eat. Imagine that. If you start to research into the overlap between big pharma and big food, it is disgusting. It does exist though, and it is real. And so think about that. The foods that are so convenient to get, it's not by chance that that's what's out there now. They are there to impact your health and make you need the medical system more. That also overlaps with constant snacking, yet we're not really doing all that much physical activity. We're actually not feeling hunger because we need more food. We're feeling hunger because our systems are confused by what they're getting and why they're not getting nutrition from what they got. So the food you're putting in fills up your belly and your body's looking for the nutrients that it needs and it can't find it. And so then it sends a hunger signal saying, hey, maybe that wasn't what I needed. Give me something else. And so you get hungry faster, but it's not because you actually need more food. It's that the food you gave it to start with was deplete of nutrition. Drive-through culture plays into this as well. It's easy, but it's so detrimental. Add on top of that things like emotional eating or reactive eating. There's so much to consider and overcome. Food used to require intention, but now it requires almost none, and it leads to blood sugar chaos and cravings and inflammatory eating patterns. But the good news is this. Nearly all of the problems I just talked through, I'm not trying to be all doom and gloom. I'm trying to highlight the problem and then help you see the solution. Nearly all of the problems are overcome when we start to eat a protein-forward diet of home-cooked whole foods. When we give our bodies real nourishment, our bodies are satisfied longer. Feed your body the way that God designed it to be fed, and health results. One of the biggest problems I see today is that women want healing, but they want it without disruption. We want transformation that doesn't require restructuring our lives. But unfortunately, the body rarely works that way. Give me some examples. You get a headache and you go get a pill for it. Modern culture has trained you to get that immediate relief without changing anything. It just wants you just want the problem to go away. You don't want to restructure. You don't want to change anything about your life. You just want the problem to go away. You're tired. You got fatigue. What do? You drink coffee. You get caffeine from some source. You take an energy drink. You get anxious. You distract yourself with your phone or any other distraction you may like. You have insomnia, even though you got that fatigue we talked about a minute ago, you're still insomniac, still can't sleep good. What do? You scroll, which keeps you awake even more. You got reflux, take medicine. Don't address the problem, just take medicine, make it go away. You have painful periods, suppress the symptoms, make them go away. I'm not condemning you for these things. I'm just trying to make you see how maybe you have fallen into a trap that you didn't even know was set. You have been conditioned to do this, but you don't have to stay there. Many women have never actually been taught how to sit with a symptom long enough to ask why it's even happening and what it means. Symptoms in our bodies are communication from our bodies. It's telling us that, for one, the body needs attention. There's something that's off. And we need to stop reacting and start investigating and thinking through, why is that there? What can you do differently in your lifestyle to address that thing rather than just trying to make it go away? And how can these patterns that we've talked about from convenience really be setting you up for these things to even exist? It all is interrelated. These things are not separate. So then you have these things and you hop on Instagram or TikTok or whatever you like to go look at things, maybe even podcasts. And you consume and you consume and you consume information. But where's the transformation? You go look for endless podcasts, you look for reels, supplements, you ask people what they took for this or that. I see those posts all the time in so many groups and so many chats. Hey, I've got this problem going on. What did you do for that? What did you take for that? What are hacks for this situation? You look for protocols or a list of things to do. You get information overload. And research becomes a substitute for responsibility. It happens for a lot of women. You got all the information. What do you do with it? It's not because you don't care, but because modern wellness culture also often keeps you chasing information, more and more information, instead of building. It fools you into thinking that you're doing something when you're really just chasing your tail. Often you're trying the next new supplement, and then the next new supplement, and then the next new one after that, or the next new weight loss shot or weight loss pill, detox after detox. You look for shortcuts, but you cannot supplement your way out of a lifestyle that is constantly dysregulating your body. Many women say, I don't have time. But modern convenience often creates more scrolling, more distraction, more reactive living, and these things burn up far more time than the transformative change would have. Modern convenience often saves time on one thing, only for us to spend that time overstimulated and disconnected. Healing requires a disruption from this convenience culture. Things like changing your routines, changing priorities, budgeting differently, saying no and meaning it, cooking more, sleeping more, slowing down, tolerating discomfort. Most women are trying to fit healing into the exact lifestyle that made them sick. Modern medicine is incredible in many ways, but many women are discovering that symptom management is not the same thing as rebuilding health. Our medical system provides fragmented care. Nobody is taking a step back and looking at the whole picture. Mentorship and implementation don't exist. You're left to figure it out alone, which usually means you don't figure it out at all. So you run from doctor to doctor, practitioner to practitioner, and you're nickel and diming your way into frustration without ever getting the healing that you're searching for. What you actually need is structure. You need accountability. You need community. You need implementation, discernment, consistency, long-term thinking, and mentorship. Transformation usually happens through proximity, accountability, and implementation, not through consuming more content. Here's the truth. Real healing requires investment of time, investment of attention, investment of energy, and yes, often financial investment too. But the women who actually heal are the women who think long term. They stay teachable. They stop chasing shortcuts. They ask deeper questions. They take ownership of their health. They're willing to live differently, and they don't really care what anybody else thinks about it. They understand stewardship. Healing often requires becoming willing to live differently than the culture around you. But the culture around you is sick. So it's a good move to get away from that culture. The women I work with in my functional medicine mentorship are usually women who are tired of surface level answers. They're ready to understand their bodies deeply. They're ready to change the patterns that have kept them stuck. And they're ready to build health intentionally instead of reactively. If that sounds like you can apply for a free call with me to see how your journey to health and true wellness can begin. Just remember, convenience may make life easier for the short term, but many of the things that create health, lasting health, still require attention, intention, effort, wisdom, and stewardship. Stewardship isn't just for money, it's for your time, your resources, and your health as well. When you're ready for that, I'm here to walk with you. I'm looking forward to our call, and I'll see you back here next week.